much everyone for joining the webinar today. So today's session, we are primarily focusing on the reporting, the SymTrain reporting, which can be utilized to provide agent performance insights. So I'll start the session by a quick introduction. So my name is Tanveer Ahmed, and I am currently working as an implementation manager at SymTrain. I am a PMI certified project manager, and I have an experience in launching new programs, implementing the SymTrend product for our global clients. And I used to lead teams as well, so I have a good experience in how the operational KPIs or BPO KPIs work and what type of reportings are expected out of the platforms, which can be utilized to check the trends and compare the performance week-wise or month-wise or year by year. So that's how my expertise lies in the reporting field, because it was a very critical parameter while I was handling a team of full-time employees. So, and in SymTrain, we have certain types of reports available which can be utilized to get performance insights, whether the trainees are performing as expected when they complete the simulations or the role plays. So for the people for whom the SymTrain is a new term, so I'll just give a basic overview what SymTrain is. So SymTrain is AI-based role-play solutions provider. What we do, we get call scripts or content from you like tool screenshots, and then we can generate simulations which will be based on real customer scenarios. So when you have your users in trainings or onboarding coachings or production coachings, so they will be able to get a hands-on experience on these simulations before they graduate to production and then handle the live calls. This reduces the churn wherein they are not that much experienced in the tool, or they are not experienced in handling live customer calls. This gives them hands-on experience on the real customer scenarios. That way they will be able to understand what type of customer objections they will be expecting and how to manage those objections in a real live environment. So this is what SymTrain does. And when it comes to reporting, we do have multiple reporting option available. So today's session, we will be just sharing some best practices on different types of reporting, what reports we have, and how you can utilize those to get what type of insights. So before I start, I just wanted to let you all know, if you have any questions related to reporting or any other feature of SymTrain, please feel free to go unmute and ask. I will be happy to assist. We have other people from SymTrain as well. We have Liz, Kalpana, Jamie, Kelly. So if you have any questions related to any part of SymTrain, please feel free to drop the questions on the chat box, or you can go unmute and ask the questions freely. Awesome. So I'll start with sharing some key features overview of SymTrain platform. So we have certain types of reports available within the platform. Since this webinar, we are focusing on the reporting part. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, or we can set up individual sessions for you as well. But yeah, in terms of reporting, we have multiple reportings available. For example, Sim report, we have user report to get user data, team results, module results. Then we have performance reports, which are Sim results and user results. I'll share the platform, and that way you will be able to see what I am talking about. So this is how the platform looks like. So we have multiple reports available here. You can see Sim, user, team results, module results, Sim results, and user results. So I'll just give you a basic overview what all these reports are. So when it comes to getting the basic details, how many Sims were created and whether the Sims are assigned or not, the Sim report will be helpful for you. This gives center level overview of all the Sims created into the platform. Now, similarly, if you want to check the center level data for your users, which is which is very critical when you are handling a limited number of licenses. So if you want to check for your particular instance or for your particular organizations, how many users are there, out of those users, how many are active, how many are inactive, that's where you can utilize the users report, and it will be beneficial for you to check how many users are active and whether Sims are assigned to them, whether they're completing the Sims or not. So again, basic center level overview. Then we can move to team results. Now, SymTrain provides you an option to create teams out of your users. So let's say you have three trainers who will be creating sims and they have individual teams. You can add all the users into the platform and then you can create teams out of those users. You can keep each trainer in each team, and that way when you click on this team results report, you will be able to get an export in Excel file wherein you can compare the performance team wise, like which team is doing in terms of sim completion, which team is good, which team is on pace, which team is lagging behind. So that way you will be able to know whether the team is on pace or not. But this primarily focuses on the number of sims assigned to that particular team and how many simulations are completed by that team. Now, you might all be thinking about some questions like, what if we want to know about know more about the performance? Like we have users, we have managers into the platform, so how we can check the performance? So performance in terms of users, simulations, or date of completion can also be checked using the platform. And for that, we utilize two primary performance reports. We have sim results report, and then we have user results report. Now, sim results report, it is a very detailed report and it will include all the matrices we have, such as keyword scoring and sentiment scoring. And you will be able to filter out data for a specific time duration. You will be able to filter out data by a team name or by the username. And then if you want to check an overview of a particular user, like for a particular user, what is their best sim, what is their worst sim, and what their matrices are, that's where we utilize user results report. The user results report, the primary difference between sim results report and user result report is that sim result reports allows you to filter out by dates and by sim names. But when it comes to user results report, it's an overview of your users. So you won't have an option to filter out by date, but it just gives you overall performance data for your users for all time. Since the sims were assigned to them, that's where it starts calculating the data and you will be able to see the overview. By the time we added this user, what was his performance for the all time duration? Like what was his best sim, what was his worst sim, and what their matrices are. There won't be any time filter for it because it is going to be an executive summary for the results. Now I'll move to real time examples so that you can understand it better. So every report you get granular data. It is going to be .csv file because we don't want to limit you. So let's say if we create some dashboards for you, it will limit your capabilities to check different matrices or different types of dashboards. So to ensure that you are not limited by those specific dashboards, so we have kept .csv raw data file format for you so that you can integrate it with any BI formatting tools or any BI reporting tools, and then you can get whatever dashboards you want to get out of these reports. So that's where we have kept the raw data for you guys. And I'll just give you an example what the raw data looks like. So I have downloaded sim results report and user results report for you. So we will just go through both of them and I can show you what type of pivot tables you can apply and what type of insights you can get and how those insights can be useful for your programs or campaigns. So on the screen here, this is a basic example of sim performance report. Now sim performance reports, as I already shared, this is a very detailed one. You will be able to get the data sim wise, team wise, and then the user wise. So there are the normal fields we see for this report is the sim name, and we will have an option for the sim number as well. If you have the sim number handy, you will be able to filter out the simulation by that number. Then we will have the sim versions. If there were any changes made to the particular sim, you will be able to check that here. Then it is going to be sim type, whether the sim was audio or visual. Then we have trainee name, trainee username. Then we have attempt type. Now, the reason for attempt type is it is going to be two types of attempts, practice and test. Now, during practice mode, by default, the scripts or hotspots we have applied into the simulation will be there, and training will be able to get a navigation from hotspots or a script support so that they are not lagging behind in terms of script reading and hotspots. But when they run the same sim in test mode, they won't get that much support from the platform So hotspot highlights won't be there, or scripts can also be hidden for test mode, so that you can examine them based on their performance or how they think about the simulation, not based on the scripts you have put into the simulation. So these two types of attempts will be there in the report. Then we have attempt number, like for example, this sim, we have the third attempt for this sim, and these are the matrices for its third attempt. Time performance, how much time the trainee is taking to execute the sim. Then the KPI starts. We have some KPIs, for example, the keyword score, we have click score. So while creating sims, we put some critical keywords. Now, keywords are certain things which you want your trainees to speak on the simulation. For example, if I am on a call and I want to greet the customer, I should say that how may I assist you today? Now you can keep assist as a keyword. So whenever they read assist, it should score them positively. So these are keyword scores, and we have click score as well. So when we are creating visual sims wherein screen navigation is involved, so you want to track their click, whether they are clicking on the right hotspot at the right time or not. So if they are clicking on the right hotspot, you will get the scores generated here, and then the sentiment scoring starts. Now, based on how the trainee is speaking on the simulation, whether the energy is low, average, or high, whether they are using any filler words, where they are taking pauses during the script, that's where the sentiment scoring will help you to identify how they are doing in terms of the tone, their pace, and their filler words in the simulation. Now, how these types of matrices help our customers? So I'll give you an example. So I had a customer for which I implemented SymTrain. Now their primary success factor was the script, because the script was compliant to their program, and they are not expecting their trainees to remember the script, because the script will be available in front of them 24 hours. So what they want their trainees to read the script properly and do not miss on any script line. So now how SymTrain helped them? So what we did, we take out their script from their tools. They provided us the script examples, and rather than keeping the individual keywords into the platform, what we did, we kept entire script lines as a keyword, so that we can track whether the trainee is utilizing the script lines properly or not. So if the trainee used to miss any line or any word, we will be able to track that yes, this trainee missed this particular word. Now, why we want to track each word? Because the entire script was compliant for that. So for these types of programs wherein the entire script lines are very security or compliant based, you want your agents to read the script properly, and that's where the sentiment scoring or keyword scoring helps you. Now, similarly, there must be programs which expect your trainees to perform some tool operations, that you need to do certain tool steps or certain screen navigations to succeed for this program. And that's where the click score will help you to identify whether your trainee or your user is on pace or they are lagging behind. So these are two types of critical matrices: keyword score, and we have hotspot scores as well as click scores. Then the sentiment scoring helps you to identify their voice and their filler words or script reading capabilities. Then when we move ahead, you can see that we can filter out the report by their team name. So if you are preparing some multiple teams out of those users, you will be able to filter out the team performance as well. Then we have dates. So these are the dates and time slots when these simulations were completed. Now the best part, for each simulation attempt, at the end of this report, you will see playback URL. Now, if you want to check the playback for individual sims, like how this simulations was done for that trainee, and if you want to check the scoring or the call recording, you can just copy this URL and paste it into the browser, and it will directly take you to that specific playback. So this was Sim Performance Report, the most used by customers and the most detailed one. Now we have User Results Report. So this is an overview report. It gives you executive summary for your users. You can see there is no date filter or a simulation filter, so you cannot filter out performance by simulations. You can utilize Sim Performance Report for that. But for user performance, this is the report. It will give you overview, like how many sims were taken by that particular by that particular user, what was their worst sim, what was their best sim, and then again the average of all the scoring will be provided to you. Now it will also give you bifurcation of time performance in practice mode, test mode, and total time for the sim execution. Now how this helps? So one of our customers, they were focused on getting the trainees practice first and then move to test part. Now, their expectation was that the time performance for practice mode should be more than the test mode, because they want the trainees to practice on the script rather than remembering the script and then doing the test mode. So that's where these types of bifurcation helps, so that you can know whether they are spending more time during practice mode, test mode, and what is the total of both. So I'll take a pause. So we discussed different reports, then sim performance reports. So before I move ahead, any questions so far, team? Okay, I guess I'll take it as a no. Cool. Now we can utilize these reports. Now you might be asking, like, what type of insights we can pull out from these types of raw data. So you can apply some pivot tables wherein you can filter out data by simulations or users. So I have some pivot tables applied already. So you can see that this is a pivot table wherein I have already filtered out the data for users. And then we have multiple filters wherein we can filter out the performance by dates. If you want to compare for September first week, September last week, or the MTD data, that's where you can utilize date filter. And then you can utilize these pivot table to generate data visualizations as well. So this is the performance by user. And similarly, I just created a copy of this pivot and then swapped sim name by username. So now you can get performance by simulations, and you can filter out by a particular user or a particular date. Then by utilizing this user performance report, you can apply pivot and you can check how many sims were taken by that particular user. Out of those sims, how many were abandoned? Now, what is sim abandoned? These are some sims which were not completed and playbacks were not generated. And then you can check their total time performance. Now you can utilize this data to create some data visualizations as well. And I created some for one of my clients. So I can give you a overview how it looks like. So you can see that these are some graphs or visuals we can create out of these data. So this is basic month over month performance, and the basic KPIs we have: keyword percentage, click percentage, and then the sentiment scoring. So you can see that it gives an overview how the campaign or how the program is moving in terms of these KPIs month over month. And then we can also check the trends week over week. So this is how we can check the trends for the KPIs, whether we are on pace, whether it's stable, whether we are doing good, or we are dropping down. And then we can utilize the user results report to create some attempt charts, whether the team trainees are attending the sims, and who is the best performer, who is the least performer in terms of sim attempts. And then you can utilize the data to get top 5 most attempted sims as well. Now, this is just to ensure that your trainees are doing what they are expected out of. So if you are assigning them sim, the first expectation we set with them is that they execute the sims, because the more sims we execute, the more data we will have, and then that will help us to identify whether the sims are actually helping your operational KPIs or not. So it's very critical that they attempt the sims and the numbers appears into the reporting. And then if you want to break down the data by month over month performance, you can do that as well. This is the example. So you can see for September month, I have break down the data for September week 3, week 4, and then MTD. Similarly for October, all the weeks, and then October MTD, and then for November and November MTD. So these are some visuals you can create out of that raw data, or you can integrate that raw data to any BI tool, and it will give you some dashboards, and you can customize those dashboards based on your requirements. So based on the needs, now usually it depends what type of insights you want to pull out from these reports. It depends on your needs. For example, my customer was focused on script adherence. So you can measure the script adherence by utilizing keyword score. Now, if you want to check whether they are doing in terms of AHT, whether they are doing good in terms of AHT for their production floor. So what you can do, you can check their scoring for keyword percentage as well as their sentiment scores. So if their sentiment scores looks good, that means they are very experienced with the script, and when they will be moved to real customer calls, they won't take that much time to think and respond to the customer, and that will improve your AHT. So based on your operational KPI, it depends how you pull out the insights. But yeah, the raw data is all yours. So we have not limited you with any of the customized dashboards. So it's all yours. Integrated or apply pivot in the Excel, apply macros, and then you can pull out any insights you want from this raw data. All right. I'll move back to tool. So any questions so far?
Hey, Tanvir, it's Liz. I'm just going to ask a live question because we don't have anybody else jumping in at the minute. What is the most interesting thing that you've found going through reporting, or something that a customer asked you that you thought was really cool when you actually figured out the answer?
Cool. So I'll share the report again. Just a moment. So yeah, I mean, so when we go on a call with our customers and when it is primarily focused on reports, the primary thing they ask is how they can compare the performance, whether they are on pace, they are lagging behind, or they are doing good in terms of the simulation performance. So they are just curious how they can compare the trends, like how we did when we implemented SymTrain for the first time. So let's say if we launched the SymTrain on September month, so how we did in September and then how we did in October. So they just wonder how they can get that data out of these reports, wherein they can compare the performance week over week. So these are some questions they ask, and how we can answer those questions. It's very simple. So utilizing this raw data, we can simply apply pivot table and we can filter out the data. Now, as soon as you filter out the data in this pivot table, the first insight we get is whether the trainees are attempting sims or not. So if you see the scoring for the sims or for users, that means these sims were attempted. But if you see NA or the formula error, that means the sims were not attempted at all. So this is the first insight, which gives them basic overview that their trainees are not attempting sims. What sims? These are certain sims they are not attempting, and that's where we can do some root cause analysis, like why they are not attempting. Is there anything we can do to tweak those simulations and all? But yeah, now if they want to check the performance in terms of week wise or month wise, we have kept this date as a filter, and then we just need to filter out, select multiple items, and then we can select September first week, for example, and then it will give you data for that specific week, and then you can compare the KPIs with the last month or the last week of that particular month. Or let's say we compare October with September. That's how you can compare the data. So this is very critical for our customers, especially BPOs, because they want to know whether we are moving ahead in terms of KPIs, or we are still lagging behind, or it's just stable. So that's they wanted to know. Now, another thing one of my customer asked was wrap up time. So once the trainees are done with their call, they're spending too much time taking notes in the account, and they're not disposing the calls in time, which was increasing their wrap up time. So how they curb that out? So we helped them with some suggestions. So they just increased one part in their scripting, that we can increase some coaching tips which will remind them to know that you need to notate your account in time, and we kept some keywords for those coaching tips as well. So once the simulation was ending, the last slide of that simulation was taking account notes, and there were certain keywords for those account notes. So that way, in the keyword scoring, we will be able to know whether they are putting account notes correctly or not. And if they are putting account notes correctly within time, that means it will ultimately impact the wrap-up time and it will decrease the wrap-up time. And they started disposing calls on time.
I'm good from my end, Tanvir.
Okay, cool. Who else?
This is Jamie. I just had a comment. I really love how you can have people in the same class who have the same amount of time to practice, but yet on here you can see that there is big differentiations and what gives this person, how come this person can practice it, 20 times and this person only did it twice. And it just identifies, and allows you to measure really the true practice that they're able to achieve during a training or during their time allotted to practice. So do you use that information a lot with clients? Is that something that is often brought up?
So when it comes to comparing teams, so one of my client, that's where it was focused for team performance because there were multiple trainers involved in sim creation and they wanted to track out like how the trainers are performing. So now it depends on the customer. So that's where we get to know different things and different expectations from our customers, and that's how we can utilize reporting. So usually what happens when we have a tool which is designed for agent training or agent coaching, so we expect that the reporting will help the customers to know about their agents. But this time it was not just about the agents, how their agents are performing, but how their trainers are performing. So they had multiple trainers who were creating sims for their teams. So they wanted to know whether the both the teams or all three teams are doing good or not. That's where we utilize team results report, and we utilize the same pivot table as well. We showed them the performance for each trainer, how they are doing in terms of sims assigned and how many sims are completed. If any of the trainer was lagging behind, we just had a discussion with them like what problems they are facing, and we got to know that it's just about some sim creation techniques, and then we improved it. So ultimately the team performance report helped us to know which trainer is doing good, and not just which trainer is doing good, it also give us insights which trainer is not doing good and why, because ultimately it links to sim creation or how the sim was built. So the ultimate goal of SIM, which are built into the platform, is that it helps your operational KPIs, such as your success factors, such as your AHT, your script adherence, how keywords are utilized. And if it is not impacting those KPIs, then I guess we need to refine those simulations. So that's where these reportings are very critical, and we take reference of these reports, not just the good examples as well as the bad examples too. So yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Before we move ahead, anyone has any further questions?
Looks like we're good to go, Tanvir.
Yep. We are not seeing any further questions from anyone. So yeah, I guess we are good to wrap up the session. But yeah, it's not like you can only ask questions on these sessions. Please feel free to reach out to me, Kalpana, Liz, or Jamie, or whoever is your primary point of contact if you have any such questions related to reporting, platform, sim creation, or sim editing, and we would be happy to help you with those answers. Cool. I guess we are good to wrap up the session. So thank you so much, team, for joining the session today. And we look forward for your attendance for our next tips and tricks session as well, which will be focused on some other topics. But yeah, if you have any topics in mind, if you want us to cover anything related to SymTrain, please feel free to reach out, or you can drop that topics in the chat box as well. And we will try to cover those topics in the next session. But yeah, I really appreciate your time today, and it was really nice showcasing our reportings to you. And thank you so much again. And thank you, SymTrain team, for setting this up. I really appreciate everyone's help here. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Tanvir.
day. Take care. Bye bye.
It was a great
Thank you,
session. Thank
Tanvir.
you all.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Tanvir.